I want you to think about the last time you had chicken fajitas. They might have been a bit bland or dry, because I know that certainly happened to me time and time again until I found this technique and discovered rajas con crema. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how and why these chicken fajitas might be the last fajita technique you need to learn, for a while at least. Inspired by one of the goats, Samin Nosrat, the 4 pillars of great cooking, salt, fat, acid, and heat, can transform ordinary ingredients into something magical. This recipe starts with 2 pounds of sliced chicken breasts, a red onion, garlic, seasonings, cotija queso, a bunch of cilantro, 2 limes, some tortillas, 6 poblano peppers, and a half cup of heavy cream. And we're going to start by making a quick marinade for the chicken breasts. So I'm starting with 4 whole cloves of garlic. If you ever see me using processed garlic, dial up that Dierks Bentley song. 5150, somebody call the po-po, because I'm going crazy. Aside from the obvious better taste, fresh garlic has been proven by Japanese scientists to have much higher allicin levels when compared to processed garlic. Allicin is well known in the scientific community to have many health benefits, acting as a powerful antibacterial agent, bolstering your immune system, and improving blood circulation. Next, we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of oil to the bowl. I'm using avocado oil here. I always roll any citrus before juicing to make it much easier to squeeze. After juicing 1½ limes and saving 1/2 for later, add your 4 cloves of chopped garlic and your seasonings to the marinade. Seasonings are somewhat personal preference, but here I've got some smoked paprika, sugar, salt, and comino. Let's check in with Samin real quick. Salt, check. Acid from the limes, check. Fat from the oil, check. And heat will come later. The heat pillar is not meant as a spice, but rather learning how to achieve the right temperature and method of heat source for whatever dish you're cooking. Because there is a lot of acid in this marinade, you do need to pay attention to time here. Let the chicken marinate for at least 30 minutes, but no longer than 60, because at that point the acid can start breaking down the protein structures of the chicken. Go ahead and preheat your broiler to high now, because one of the stars of this dish is the charred poblano pepper. These poblano peppers, after broiled, charred, and cooked in some cream, are often called rajas con crema on menus. And I can still remember the first time I tried them a couple years ago at Mi Calvillo here in Durham, North Carolina. It was life-changing. I've always enjoyed a great chile relleno from El Corral, and when I had these rajas con crema at Mi Calvillo, I was hooked. I'm intentionally slicing the poblanos on the thin side to allow for maximum pepper surface area to make contact with the sheet pan. Remove the seeds and stems from the sliced poblanos and layer a sheet of tinfoil onto a baking sheet. I want you to arrange these poblanos skin side up on the baking sheet and then kind of smash the tops of them down as much as possible to allow for maximum contact with the sheet pan. Cue Samin Nosrat's 4th pillar of great cooking, heat, here. Because we aren't cooking these around a cattle rancher's campfire where the technique originated somewhere in the Rio Grande River Valley in northern Mexico, but we still want to achieve that same char on those poblanos as the vaqueros do with their fires, crank your broiler to high and put the sheet pan as close to the broiler as possible. It's a bit unpredictable how long this step will take because everyone's broiler and poblano is a bit different, but a good rule of thumb is to check on these after 2 to 3 minutes and rotate the pan so they brown evenly. I've seen these poblanos go as quickly as 4 minutes but take as long as 10. Mine took around 8 here. Use the skin of the poblano as your guide. They're done when the skin is puffy and charred black. While the poblanos are broiling, let's start slicing our onion and dice some more garlic. Samin's cooking style and philosophy has made a huge impact on me because she preaches about that indescribable feel component a home chef needs to elevate your cooking game. You know when someone says their nonna, mom, or auntie never follows a recipe? That's what Samin tries to teach you. Recipes are great for inspiration and ideas and absolutely necessary when you're learning new flavors or techniques, but if you try to follow them to a single T every time, you will never unlock your full potential. A true home chef journey includes tapping into your creativity, having the confidence to be bold and daring, and learning from your mistakes, most of which comes from going off script and not following a recipe. Yes, you might fail, and I have many times over. I've made some weird, sometimes not so great things, but I've never stopped learning and trying new things, and I think that's why I love Samin's ethos so much. 4th pillar, heat, is critical to achieve that campfire char on the onions as well, so wait to add them to the hot pan until after the oil has started to smoke. This is how you want your poblanos to look before taking them out of the oven, and unless you want 3rd-degree burns, I want you to immediately cover the tray with foil carefully, or transfer these to a bowl and cover them. The goal is to use steam as a heat source to loosen up the skin so you can peel them easily later. They need at least 10 minutes. While those onions are charring up, we can finish the last bit of prep and roughly chop some cilantro, which is one of my absolute favorite fresh herbs. Fun cilantro fact: did you know that approximately 15% of the population finds cilantro repulsive because of their genetics? These 15%ers will say it tastes like soap and it will make some vomit. So cut them some slack because I promise they aren't just being dramatic. hand crumbling cotija cheese here, which is like the Italian Parmigiano Reggiano's Mexican cousin. Unlike queso fresco, cotija is aged, so it's a bit firmer and has that addictive umami nuttiness that I crave so much from my Parmigiana. This cotija is not as firm as Parmigiana, and I can crumble it with my hands. Shout out opposable thumbs and phalanges for the win, time and time again, as oftentimes they're the most valuable kitchen tool. Let's go, evolution! Cotija cheese also oddly does not melt. I'm not sure why, so it acts more like a garnish in Mexican cooking, and is absolutely perfect for one of my favorite Mexican dishes of all time, elote, aka Mexican street corn. The last bit of prep for me includes one of my favorite acidic accoutrements, pickled jalapenos. I've not figured out how to make these better than the ones I can buy at the store yet, so someone throw me a bone and teach me. But I always have a jar of these pickled jalapenos in the fridge and ready to go. They're amazing with eggs and also the best grilled cheese I've ever made. Let's check back in on those poblanos now that they're cool enough to touch. The skin should peel off pretty easily for the most part. When I talk about cooking with love, these are the extra steps I'm thinking of. I firmly believe our world has gotten way too fast, and cooking delicious meals from scratch by transforming whole foods into something magical is quickly becoming a lost art. Yes, it takes more time and admittedly can be a bit annoying, especially when the skins don't peel off perfectly, but the flavor you develop by charring these fresh poblanos will have your friends and family raving about the first time they ever tried rajas con crema at your house. Seriously, can someone help me out here? At Maiden Iron or at Mr. Clark as God, any ideas? I'm looking at you. How can I make this step easier or more foolproof? These are good enough for me, and leaving some charred bits on will add flavor depth and dimension to these rajas. Checking back in on the charred onions, I saved some garlic from earlier and am adding another chopped clove and seasonings, including salt, a quarter teaspoon of thyme, and a quarter teaspoon of oregano. When you're using fresh garlic, you don't want it to burn or char, so as soon as you smell it, which can be quickly as soon as 15 to 30 seconds, add your cream. If the garlic burns, it's one of those things that can frustratingly ruin your dish. I'm speaking from experience. Remember when I talked about failing? The fat from the cream will serve as a vessel to Guy Fieri's Flavor Town, absorbing all of those richly developed spices, onions, and beautifully charred poblanos, creating finger-licking good rajas con crema. One last dash of acid by squeezing our last bit of lime into the rajas and set them aside in a covered bowl to stay warm while you cook your chicken. Wow, look at this beautifully marinated chicken. Put your cleaned out rajas pan over high heat and try to wipe off as much marinade as possible before you cook the chicken. We want the lightly oiled pan very hot here so we can sear in the juices of the very lean meat. So add the chicken strips just after the oil starts to smoke. Because I pre-cut the breasts into strips, this step will go fast, just a couple minutes on each side. You'll notice the strips, which didn't get a great sear on them, likely were not dried out enough before I added them to the pan, but they'll still be delicious. Similar to a lasagna bolognese, fajita assembly is one of my favorite parts of this dish. Now the chicken and rajas con crema are plenty flavorful and will undoubtedly stand on their own, but I love to serve fajitas with many different types of accoutrements, similar to how you would see an authentic Peking duck served tableside. The choices allow your friends and family to experiment with different flavor profiles and maybe try something new. I know Tech won't want the pickled jalapenos, Poppy probably won't want the rajas, Juju will love the cotija, and Baba will load his up with everything, kinda like me. But most importantly, I know people love to be in control and have choices in their life. It's just human nature. Let's see, so for today's accoutrements, we've got the crumbled cotija, salt and fat, check. Some pickled red onions and pickled jalapenos, acid, check. Some cilantro, and the rajas con crema, salt, fat, acid, check. So thank you to Samin Nosrat for inspiring me. And as I was reading through her book the other day, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the foreword was written by Michael Pollan. I somehow overlooked that, and it's ironic because everything I learned about cooking with whole foods and minimally processed ingredients came from growing up in my mother's kitchen. My mother has been inspired by Michael Pollan's words for decades now, and one of his disciples, Samin Nosrat, is now inspiring me as I embark on my own home chef and content creator journey. It was one of those rare, powerful aha moments the universe can uncannily deliver. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and join me for all my cooking successes and failures.